to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
Guns, self-defense, concealed carry. This is the Patriot Defense Podcast. From the war room in Idaho's high desert, here's your host, Todd Echols.
So we're back with the Patriot Defense Podcast. My gosh, I was on a roll for quite a little while. I got it up to about 60 or 70 downloads on one episode, and I think it's been about 5 months. Dean's with us today.
Greetings.
Greetings, Dean. Dean's going to be, hopefully, if everything works out well, Dean's going to be the new co-host because I'm getting tired of talking to myself.
Happy to help out, Todd.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. So I think last I talked to you, you were heading down to California.
Right. Yeah, I've been in California for the last 5 months.
Did it change you?
No.
Did you smuggle any firearms down there with you?
I didn't. I was so scared. I didn't want to take anything with me.
Well, that's no fun. Then it's good to be back here where you can carry.
It's so good. Yeah.
Are you carrying now?
I'm not.
What the heck?
I know. I just come to
Todd's house. Did you carry at church today?
No.
We'll get into that, but after last weekend, you're still not carrying at church.
You know, I've been thinking a lot about it, and I didn't even think about it today heading in, considering it, but
quit considering and
do.
I just read an article. There's an article that I didn't send you, and I just read an article about a gentleman that was at church over in Texas. It wasn't in the church the shooting took place in, but he's close enough that they put his church on lockdown, and he decided not to carry his firearm that day. And it was talking about how he was going to church today, and he chose to carry his firearm, and he didn't care. He didn't care who knew that he was going to carry his firearm. He told his pastor, he told the people that he was sitting next with that he had his firearm and with him, and it was going to be with him at all times, and he wasn't going to be a sitting duck anymore. So you need to learn from that guy, Dean.
Exactly, and I know exactly how I'm going to carry and what I'm going to carry.
There you go.
Good.
I'll have to show you a little holster that I found that works really, really well, and that I actually take jogging with me, but it works great for carrying a smaller gun at church, and it's pretty comfortable actually.
Is it Thunderwear?
No, it's not. It's not Thunderwear. Man, I haven't heard someone talk about Thunderwear in years. Do they still make those?
I don't know. I just remember seeing the advertisements for it in the gun magazines I used to read.
Thunderwear. I may look at that.
Right.
Get some Thunderwear. Maybe I'll start running in Thunderwear.
Right. See if it works.
Yeah, I'll wear some spandex running shorts right over the top of those. Go running in my Thunderwear. Is that a gun, or are you just happy to see me?
Right. No, it's a potato.
It's a potato. Anyhow, that's a rough road to go down. So,
True.
So did you have any interesting conversations when you were in California with like-minded thinkers?
I was in a little pocket where there actually were some good conservative people, but for the most part, they're pretty liberal.
Were you around any shooting? Do they have shooting ranges down there?
Not that I saw anywhere where I was.
Really?
I was in a little town called Soledad. If you ever read Of Mice and Men,
that's like you were in Iraq.
Right. Right. Soledad is the town where Of Mice and Men takes place. It's about a half hour from Salinas, and Salinas is about an hour south of San Jose.
Okay.
Right next door to Monterey.
So no shooting for 5 months.
Yeah.
No reloading for 5 months.
Nothing, yeah.
No, all you did is crash your motorcycle.
Yeah, I did. I wrecked my poor bike.
Well, we're glad you made it here to do this. I remember about a month and a half, 2 months ago, I think I shot you a text message because I heard you were possibly coming back because I ran into your wife. Actually, she came to my daughter's wedding reception.
Oh, right, yeah.
And she says, yeah, Dean's got a job back up here. And I was like, okay, cool. And I shot you a text and said, get up. Are you back? I need to start my podcast again. And he's like, no, I got another month.
Yeah.
Kind of depressed me a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyhow, I'm glad you're here.
Right.
Glad we could do this. For Patriot Defense, I just keep doing classes. I had a couple classes a month, kind of stay busy with that, stay busy with my day job. I had a class yesterday, but the class I had last month was really interesting. There was a gentleman in the class, and he was missing an arm, and he had on his one hand, the arm that he did have, he had broke one of his fingers. And so it was really interesting. He showed me how he manipulated his firearm. Pretty interesting to see. And the guy was one heck of a shot.
Did he shoot a semi-auto or a revolver?
No, he shot a semi-auto. Reloading a revolver would have been a little bit of a challenge, I think. But he actually had to sit on a chair, and he shot standing up, but he'd sit on a chair, and he'd set his gun on the table, and then take the magazine out, and then hold the firearm between his legs when he reloaded it, his knees, and then pull the slide back and let it go to chamber around, and pick it up and shoot it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty. That's
impressive.
It was pretty impressive to see. Now, for the safety of everyone in the class, I made him demonstrate it. To me and the guy I had helping me on the fire line, I made him demonstrate it so he knew. I knew exactly if he favored one side or the other. If he favored kind of pointing the gun to the left or the right, because he's got to favor one side. He's only having one hand, one arm, and so we put him on the far left side. But he did fantastic. He was I didn't have to help him with the shooting at all. He shot phenomenally.
Did he shoot before he lost his arm?
Yeah. I believe he was actually military.
Gotcha.
And I don't know the story about how he lost his arm or anything like that. But that's the first for Patriot Defense. I've had people in wheelchairs and walkers and stuff like that, but never anyone missing limbs. So I guess the moral of the story is I'll accommodate. If you let me know ahead of time, I will accommodate, because you may be missing an arm, you may be in a wheelchair or in a walker, whatever, but you have every right to defend yourself, just like anyone else does. In fact, you probably almost need to be able to defend yourself with a firearm even more. The way I see it,
you might be viewed as more of a victim.
Yeah, and easy pickings. Yeah. So he did. He shot very, very well. I was very, very impressed. But funny story though. He'd called me or texted me about the class. He's asking me, "Do you have any openings?" Yeah. I said, "Yeah, I got openings." He goes, "Okay, I'm going to check with my work, see if I can get the day off." And then he got a hold of me a few weeks later. It was getting pretty close to the class. I think we were about a week away. And he's like, "You remember me? We talked, and I can get the day off, so I want to get signed up." So I got them all signed up. And then I get another text going, "Oh, by the way, I'm missing an arm and I only have 4 fingers. Is that going to be a problem?" No, that's no problem at all. What am I supposed to say? No,
right.
It wouldn't have been a problem, but I do need to know these things ahead of time so I can bring in extra help. Or, if someone needs a little more extra help, I'll bring in an extra person just to stand there and help them. And it's not that I have a problem with them shooting. It's the fact that I may have 14 or 15 other students, and they have to remain safe as well. And if I'm paying attention and giving all my focus on one person, then everyone else is kind of left to do whatever they do on their own, and that's not safe.
Yeah, that's scary too.
So pretty interesting class. And the best shot, the guy who took the best shot of that class was my oldest student ever. He was like 86 years old or something like that.
Wow.
86, and you couldn't tell it. But he was shooting a little 22, and he took the center right out of it. I posted a picture of him up on my Facebook page, Patriot Defense Facebook page. So that was pretty cool. It's a pretty neat deal.
That's wild.
So yeah, I got to get you back out here to help with one of these classes again.
Yeah, I need to get.
Last time I had you out here, you stole my freaking brass.
I have to get what? Just the real man's brass. That's all.
Oh, hey, you'll like this though. There was a gentleman in that same class I was just talking about, and I know him from a long time ago. I went to school with his kids are actually younger than me, but I went to school with him. And I always ask him in the class, "Does anyone reload?" And he goes, "Yeah, I reload." I said, "Well, where do you shoot?" And he brought his revolver, and his .357. He was shooting .38s. I said, "Oh, that's good, brass. But I guess since you got a revolver, you can just hit the plunger and dump that stuff right into your bag there." And he goes, "Okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'm going to take mine home." Well, I'm watching him, and he's taking his home. Some gal shooting next to him. She's shooting a revolver too, and I look over there. He conned her into dumping her brass into his bag.
Attaboy. All right.
So when he wasn't looking, I went over and took a handful out of his bag and threw it on the ground.
Shoot.
But no, we had a good time. It was all good natured. So.
Oh, that's good.
But I had a class yesterday, and I had reserved the indoor range just in case the weather got bad. But it was actually pretty nice out.
It was a nice day.
So I saved a little money, and we shot outside. I said, "Screw it, we're going to shoot outside, man."
And it's working out okay here at your new range.
It is. Neighbors haven't said anything yet.
Great.
I don't even. I'm sure they know what I do, but I haven't seen any sheriff department guys come down the road. Neighbors haven't said anything, and I get a lot of traffic in here in the mornings, for the class. But everyone seems to be respectable, and they drive slowly and stuff. But when I start shooting, I've had no problems. The only time I've ever had an issue, and it wasn't even an issue, was the farmer came, and he had to check some irrigation, and I just would kind of check to see when he was going to be over here, and we just kind of took a break while he was up near the range. He appreciated that.
I'm sure he did.
But so I'm happy with it so far. So I'll give it a break now for the winter, and I'll still have classes. We'll have the classroom portion here, but we'll do the shooting portion at the indoor range over by the airport. And so I'll give everyone a break, and then the spring, when they least expect it, we'll start shooting outside again.
Great.
It'll be lots of fun. So hopefully my plan is, I had some new classes last year. I have a law enforcement buddy. He's ex-law enforcement. He took a job with the military now, but he was a law enforcement instructor, and he does a class. We kind of split this deal up. Got a little relationship thing worked out here, but he comes down and does how to draw and shoot, draw and move, that kind of thing. And we did 2 or 3 of those classes, and I think we allow up to 6 people in those classes, and they worked out real well. And then I found out after the last one of the season that he also can do shotgun classes.
Oh, fun!
Like defensive shotgun type classes. And so I haven't mentioned it to him yet. So if he listens to this, Mike, you know who you are. I'm sure you're going to listen once I post this up. Just think about this for a little while. I'm thinking about maybe this spring and summer we could combine them, since the class is only 3 or 4 hours long, and because he has to drive from Boise, I'm thinking maybe we could combine the draw and shoot type of class with a defensive shotgun class in the afternoon after lunch.
Oh, that'd be great.
I think that would be.
Oh, that'd be a lot of fun.
I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I think the more you advertise, the more people you're going to get in. You'll have a lot of people interested in that.
I think I need a defensive shotgun now.
Yeah,
but I would imagine though, and I have to check with Mike, but I'd imagine you don't even need a special shotgun. It's going to be if it's based on a Patriot Defense style, thinking of class. It's use what you got. So If you got that shotgun, an old Mossberg that you used to hunt with, bring that. That's the one you're going to pick up at your house to use defensively, bring that. If you got one that's all decked out and fancy, and that's the one you're going to use for defense, bring that one. But I'm sure we can make something work. Just like if someone were to show up with a single-shot 22 caliber Derringer in class, I'm not going to turn them away. They're more than welcome to use that.
True.
So, it is what it is. Defend yourself with what you got. Anything's better than a pokey stick, right?
True.
We had a guy yesterday shooting he was shooting a 9mm. I call them 9mm Skies. They're the SCCYs. Have you seen those?
I haven't seen it. I haven't even heard of that.
Yeah, they're fantastic.
Are they super cheap?
They work and they go bang, but they're rough.
Is it about like a high point?
Kinda. I mean, I think the high points, which I'm not knocking any guns, high points are probably more reliable.
Yeah.
This thing was having all kinds of issues, and it was frustrating the heck out of this guy. And he's ready to throw it over the
throw it at his target.
Yeah, he wanted to throw it at the target. He said he's going to throw it over the backstop and just leave it. So I told him I'd make sure. I didn't like it either, but I was going to be back there to catch it at least.
Right.
And I'd take it and put it in my safe and use it for later. So. Well, that's about all I've been up to. I did plant some. We're making a nicer shooting area, and I had the berm all hydro-seeded. So hopefully by the spring it'll be some grass back there.
Oh, that'll be great.
Be nice, a little cooler to shoot. Hopefully. Right. So you've been up to anything else besides coming back from California? Now that we got to reprogram you now.
Doing that. I know, seriously. Just the honey-do list. Picking up the yard. The yard's been neglected for 5 months. Spraying for weeds, burning weeds, splitting wood.
It's wintertime now. Who cares? Let it snow and you can worry about it in the springtime.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, we have been doing a lot of yard work and just catching up with my kids, getting to know them again.
Well, that's good. That's good. Time to start reloading some more.
Oh, yeah.
You can kind of see as we're sitting in here in my war room, which is about half. I don't know. It probably looks the same as it did last time you were here.
It's a little cleaner. There's a little less clutter.
I swept. You didn't walk through cobwebs in here.
No, no cobwebs at all.
So the war room, for those of you who haven't listened before, or maybe I haven't explained it before, it's just a little room separated from the house. It's kind of attached to my classroom. It's pretty nice. I got a little TV in here. I got my reloading presses set up. They don't see a lot of use in here, but they're here, they're set up. I need to get back into it. And it's where I do my podcast. So slowly but surely, this place will start taking shape again.
Looks good. You got a good setup here.
I do. I need more benches.
Yeah.
Did you see my big tub of brass over here? It's cute. I'm filling it up with brass.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I haven't brought all my lead in here yet, but I need to do that too.
I see you got a lot of brass under the table here.
That's all sorted. That's all sorted, cleaned.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, I need to sort this tub over here though, and there's a bunch out there in the dirt. I got to get my 12-year-old to pick it up for me.
I can't tell you how happy I am to see a large bore pistol brass down there.
Yeah, and I have a large bore pistol now.
Yeah.
My little 45, and I am looking for. I'm not ready to buy yet, but I am looking for some kind of little revolver to take with me when I go running on my big runs this summer. I was toying with the idea of like a 357. A little something light because I got to run 40 miles with this thing strapped to me.
Yeah.
Maybe even like someone talked about they had a Smith & Wesson Airweight in 44 mag.
Boy, that would have a lot of bite.
That would, but you know what?
Boy.
If I need to use it, 5 shots, 6 shots, and
right.
It is what it is at that point. If I can't stop it with that, then I deserve to get eaten or killed or stabbed or.
Right.
Or something, but I want to get it, and I want to buy these hydration vests for running, and I want to stick it right on the front of my vest. I want to have a special pocket,
a harness,
special pocket.
Yeah.
And mostly, I want to do it because, I'm a gun guy and I like to run, so I want to carry a gun while I'm running, and because I know that not everyone, but I know that a lot of these people that are running they got to be crazy granola people.
Hippies.
And I just want to strap this gun to my freaking vest and just run up next to them and make them all a little nervous.
Make sure the handle's sticking out the back.
Yeah. Well, they'll know what it is. It's not going to be completely hidden. I just want to make them all a little nervous.
Yeah.
Then it might, when I'm dying on the side of the trail, that they probably won't stop and help me though.
Yeah, right.
Might be.
Yeah, you dirty deal. Samaritan. We're not going to help you. Yeah.
So we should probably, we kind of got caught up. We should probably talk about everything that's been going on lately. Lots of interesting stuff.
Right.
Big church shooting.
Right.
I'm going to surpass the other shootings because they happened a little while ago. But that church shooting, that one kind of hit home for a lot of people.
Exactly. People that think they're, safe, relying on their faith for their protection. And lo and behold, this jackwagon comes in and.
Yeah. I used to not tell a lot of people. I mean, people, if they know what I do, they know that I probably carry at church. And I'm not going to go around and tell people that I carry at church. But I do a radio show every Friday. And, I just came out and if anyone was listening, they know now. I just came right out and said, I carry a firearm at church. I have for many, many years. And I would, and there's probably people there that if they really knew, they probably upset them. But it has never jumped out and bothered them. I've never had to use it, but it's there just in case. And
right.
By golly, I'm going to keep carrying at church. In fact, I'm going to make sure I carry at church now every Sunday. I mean, you just don't know what's going to happen.
Right. That's an interesting point you make. No one probably knows you do it if they don't know what you do, and that's the important part of concealed carry. No one knows it's there.
Well, if you're carrying right, concealed means concealed, and if you get the right type of holsters, the right type of firearm, one that fits you, one that you're comfortable with, it should ride perfect, and no one will know you have it.
Exactly.
There was a guy I know that he took my class, and he carried, and he would never carry IWB, which is inside the waistband. He always, when he went to church, I guess he didn't find it comfortable, and he'd wear a suit coat or just a coat over his shirt, and he'd carry outside the waistband at church. That always made me a little nervous there, that someone was going to see it and get all upset and get all bent out of shape over it. But I don't know. They never did. But concealed means concealed. If they can see it, you're doing it wrong. That's right. That's the way I look at it. Now, I know that there's people there that know I carry. If they're smart, a lot of people listen to me on the radio. I just announced it the other day. So... But this last church shooting was a good instance of a good guy with a gun.
Right.
Have you listened to those guys' interviews at all?
I heard one interview, and I was really surprised, too, to hear he used an AR-15.
Yeah.
And you don't hear that anywhere.
No, and this guy was an NRA instructor.
Right.
He was me.
Yeah.
I mean, really, he's the average. I don't know if he had a business or anything like that, but he's an average everyday Joe. He said he heard the shots. He knew he needed to do something. and he ran in. I mean, I've read so many things on it that hopefully I'm not getting confused. But he ran into his safe. He grabbed his AR. I think he grabbed just a handful of shells or a magazine or something. And as he went outside, I believe the shooter had come outside, I think, to get more weapons or reload or do something. And he took the opportunity to shoot at the guy. And that's when he thinks he actually hit him, because once he shot at him, the guy dropped what he had in his hands and he ran over and jumped in his vehicle and took off. And then being in Texas, the good guy with the gun, runs up to some random guy that was driving down the street, stopped him, flagged his truck down, and said, "Hey man, this guy just shot up the church. We got to go." And the guy's like, "Okay, get in, let's go." I mean,
right.
That's a Texas deal right there,
right.
buddy.
Right.
I mean, you got some guy with an AR going, "Chase that guy." That's a pretty good deal, though. I just a good guy with a gun. It happens more than what you hear, because the media kind of tries to suppress that.
Yeah, you can't have a gun being portrayed in a good light in the media.
Right. And the guy, obviously we understand that the guy that did the shooting, the bad guy, he's just pure evil. He just went and did it. I think there was one family there. I heard that they lost like 5 or 6 people in their family.
8 people.
Yeah,
one family.
in one family.
Yeah.
I mean, the town itself wasn't very big, and they were a real tight knit, close community. Everyone knew everybody, and they figured that after that shooting, that town lost like 10% of the community had been shot.
Right.
That's insane.
And, not one person in the community wasn't affected. Didn't know.
Yeah.
Someone that got.
I mean, this guy was walking
injured
down,
or murdered.
Yeah, they were saying this guy was walking down the aisles of the church, turning to each pew, and he was shooting babies.
Yeah.
Just, oh my gosh, what a wacko!
Pure evil.
Pure 100% evil. And he was able to get the firearms. He was, it was kind of a bureaucratic. I didn't read into this part, but kind of a bureaucratic mess up. Was it the Air Force?
The Air Force, yeah.
They didn't turn in the paperwork that they should have turned in, and I don't know, bad deal. It shouldn't have happened, but it did.
True.
So
now I heard that this fellow was wearing body armor.
He was.
So riddle me this here, Todd.
Okay.
Guy comes into church, you're carrying, and he's wearing body armor. How do you address that if you're going to defend yourself against someone with body armor?
Here's this, okay, and this will be an interesting discussion. So I'm going to back up for a minute. We'll come back to your question. When I was on the radio show, there's a guy that called in, a live caller, and he actually said, this is what he said. He said you could obviously tell he was kind of anti-gun. He's like, good guy with a gun. That scenario doesn't happen, and that's a false scenario most of the time. And they've done a study that says most people that carry firearms, even at church or wherever they are, if there's a mass shooting that takes place, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to hit the ground. They're going to hit the ground, and they're not going to produce their firearm. They're not going to do anything. My answer to him on that, and we'll come back to your question. Mm-hmm. My answer to him on that was a lot of guys will hit the ground, but you know what they're going to do? They're waiting for the opportunity. Just because someone walks in with a gun and you have a firearm doesn't mean going for your gun is always the first thing that you should do. Okay, you wait for the opportunity. My thoughts are this: I don't want to see anyone die. I don't want to see anyone get killed. If I'm carrying a firearm, I'm carrying a firearm because it's to protect me and my family. They're going to be my first priority.
Right.
So if someone walks in with body armor, obviously I'm going to see that. I'm going to hunker down, do whatever I need to do. I'm going to wait. I'm not just going to jump up and start shooting, because that could do one of two things. He's going to shoot anyway, but if I jump up and start shooting, he may start shooting a lot more, and he may harm a lot more people. Okay, I'm going to wait for the opportunity. You can kind of tell when someone's wearing body armor. So you look for, and there's all different types of body armor. You look for the weak spots in the body armor. The guy that shot him, I believe, in the side, right, kind of where the body armor wasn't protecting. He's just slipped one right past the body armor. That's what you're going to do. But there are things, there's a head. The head is exposed. So my answer is wait for the opportune time. Do what you need to do. Protect your family. You have a firearm. Do what you got to do, but know that unloading your 9mm into his body armor, even a 45 into his body armor, isn't necessarily maybe going to stop him. But a lot of times these guys are actually big cowards, and just presenting your firearm and even taking a shot or two at them may actually run them off. They don't want to get harmed. They don't want to get hurt. It's bad for business. They're cowards.
Right.
I mean, the first guy that took a shot at this guy caused this guy to drop his stuff, jump in his truck, and drive away.
Right.
But
good point.
You could also look at churches too as a whole. Overall, churches should have some kind of security plan in place. And the church that I go to, we go to the same church pretty much. I don't know of any really security plan that they have in place.
There's absolutely no security plan.
No, but there's a lot of churches that do. I know there's some churches in Twin Falls here that do. I've actually evaluated some of their guys shooting before and helped them out. When I was in Kansas, there was a lot. It was right in the middle of the Bible Belt. There's some big churches down there, and the churches were like multi-buildings on this, like the church campus. So you have the great big building where everyone met. The congregation would meet, and then you'd have separate buildings for different classes, and then you'd even have a separate building over here for kids to go to Sunday school or whatever. And they had cameras up. They had security teams. And if they saw something funny, saw someone walk in, they would actually lock the place down.
Oh, really?
They wouldn't let, if someone odd was on the campus, on the church, whatever campus, they wouldn't even let the kids leave. The kids were to stay in the building, and they didn't let anyone in the building unless you had a special ID that was made for you by the church. I mean, when you went to even get your kid on a regular day where it wasn't locked down, if you didn't show your correct, tag, I guess, they wouldn't give you your kid.
Wow.
Because they don't want kids, given out to the wrong people.
Right. So it must be an absolutely huge church where you're not able to know everyone on site.
Right. And
gotcha.
But then again, when you have family, and just kind of getting off topic, but when you have family disputes, and all of a sudden dad shows up to pick up the kids, but maybe he just had some kind of dispute with mom.
Yeah.
And he's not supposed to be, you know what I'm saying? So whoever drops the kids off has the tag, and they have to be the ones that go get the kids.
Gotcha.
Instead of dad taking the kids and trying to leave the state with them.
I can tell you, I said that there was absolutely no provision for safety in our church. There was a time when there was a mother who was very concerned about an estranged father. And at that point, there was absolutely a plan put in place. Good. We had people put up at the doors, watching the doors. It was, you never would have guessed it. You never could have seen it coming if you didn't know what you were looking for.
Right,
but
and that's
only in very special circumstances does our church do it.
And that's the way you want it to be. I mean, you're there to go to church, and you don't want, if you have security in place, in my mind, you don't want to be super obvious about it. You don't want to take from everyone's church going experience.
Right.
If that makes any sense. Things with churches, most churches are what I'm going to call soft targets. The people are there to worship. They're there to become, to be closer with their God. They're there to help people out.
And they're a gun-free zone.
And they're typically gun-free zones, or they're, even if they're not regulated as a gun-free zone, they're churches.
Yeah.
Most people aren't going to carry their firearms to church unless you're like me, and I just carry one everywhere. But you have people on Sundays, I'm even the church that we go to. We have seen people on Sundays walking off the street. They need help. They want direction. They want to talk to somebody. Maybe they want a handout. It is what it is. I mean, that's what churches are kind of known for.
Yeah.
So you get a lot of interesting people that you don't know, stopping by to do whatever, to ask for help, to whatever. You don't know what kind of state of mind these people are in.
Right.
I mean, you don't know what their plans are. If our church, for example, they want you to learn how to help yourself, and they'll help you out, but they're going to ask you lots of questions if they're going to help you and get a little nosy, and that might irritate somebody.
Yeah.
You just don't know these people's backgrounds or their state of mind when they come in there. So I don't know. Churches are interesting. I carry all the time, and I don't know in my church if there's anyone else right there at the same time that I go to that actually carries a firearm. I would hope that there is. I don't know if there is.
Right.
So it is what it is. I like to go, and I like to sit toward the back in the chapel. Well, I like to sit in the back of the chapel anyway. But I like to sit in the back so I can see if anything's happening. I sit kind of close to the door so I can exit if I need to with my family. Most of the time I'm out in the foyer with my little boy anyway.
Right.
But and I'm not saying I don't look for an excuse to go sit in the foyer, because That's not true. I do look for excuses to go sit in the foyer. But no, churches are soft targets, and people need to understand that. And a lot of these places where these big, like, active shooter mass shootings happen, they're soft targets.
Absolutely.
I mean, for a while they were schools, and schools are starting to toughen up now.
Yeah.
And then you got churches, and you got places where people aren't expecting things like concerts and even your work. They're soft targets.
Yeah.
More often than not. So
I have a good buddy who works in pain management here in Idaho.
Uh-huh.
And when he started, he had a couple scary experiences with people coming in seeking drugs.
Sure.
And his nurse that he worked with always carried with him a very large medical dictionary. It was huge. It was a really big book, and it was kind of silly that he thought he was carrying this in with him all over the place, all over the clinic, in with every patient, and then with him to the desk. And he never had this thing out of his sight even. And he asked him one day, "What's with the medical dictionary?" So the guy pulled him aside, and he opened it up, and it was a big cutout in the middle of the book,
Sweet.
and there's a 1911 in the middle of his medical dictionary.
Wow.
And after that, this buddy of mine, he started carrying his 9mm to work every day.
Well, it makes you wonder if the guy that took the time to cut out that book and put that 1911 in there had a run in at one point.
Right, yeah.
But that's crazy. I mean, that's you do what you got to do. I mean, a lot of these places people work, they need to be able to carry a firearm to possibly protect themselves. And by law they can. But by the employer's law, they can't.
Exactly. That's how it is at our local hospital. It's on the books. If you're an employee, you cannot carry onto the campus of the hospital. But if you're a patient, you most certainly can.
Oh yeah, I've been there for armed at every birth of my child.
Right. Right.
So, and I'm not telling you, sleeping in those little chairs, waiting for my wife to have the baby with my my G19 digging into my hips, not super comfortable, but I did it.
Right.
So it's I don't know, it's a scary world out there, and unfortunately, I was reading an article. I sent you this article today that we're super gun owners.
Right. Yeah.
There was a article that I read, and I'll try to post it. I may have already done it. Sometimes I do stuff like that during church. But I'll post this article. It was by the Wall Street Journal. And it says that if you own more than 17 guns, you're a super gun owner. So, and it talked about how there's more and more people out there that are becoming these, quote, super gun owners. So I think there's a lot in Idaho.
Yeah, I think there's a high concentration here, yeah.
So I got to counting, and how easy would it be if your family shoots? It'd be very easy to become what they're calling a super gun owner.
Yeah.
Because I got to thinking, I've got a handgun. Well, I've got more than that, but let's say one handgun for me, one handgun for my wife. And then I like to deer hunt, and I've got 5 kids. So let's say I have, they each have a rifle, and they each have a shotgun because they shoot trap and skeet and like the duck hunt. Bam, I'm a super gun owner.
Right there it is. Just because you have a family and everyone shoots.
As far as I'm concerned, that's just the basics. A rifle, a shotgun, and 2 handguns. That's
right.
That's just the basics. That's not even getting into the fun stuff.
Right.
I've seen the pile of stuff you left at my house for 6 months.
Shoot.
Man, I was like a super gun owner times freaking 6 or 7.
Shoot.
Times 10. So it's we're super gun owners. That's not a bad thing.
Right.
But,
well, it's interesting. With the time I spent in California, the mindset down there with a lot of the hippies or the liberals is that they're evil, inherently evil. An inanimate object is evil just because it exists.
It's going to jump up and do harm.
Right.
Laying there on the table.
Yeah, exactly. And then up here, I come back home and amongst my people, and it's a tool. It's a piece of art. My pop used to turn old sporters into old Mausers into sporters. I mean,
right.
And they're just gorgeous pieces of work that he did. The deep, beautiful bluing on the
I've seen
on
them.
the actions and the barrels, and then the woodworking with the stock and. Yeah, they're pieces of art.
I've got an old, you've seen my 270 that I hunt with.
Yeah.
Pre-64 Model 70. And I've refinished the stock and stuff, but the bluing is perfect.
Yeah.
It's wore in just,
it's gorgeous.
It is. It's just awesome. I'll probably never change that.
Those pre-64 Winchesters are works of art.
They
Beautiful
really are.
Works of art.
But it's I don't know. It's just interesting. You can go from one state to another, and one place they're a tool, one place they're to be feared.
Yeah.
And they're not even doing anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had a guy in my last class yesterday. He travels down to California for like 14 or 15 days a month and works down there, and he was asking questions about taking his gun down there, and I'm like, no, you can't really take it down there.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he's going to do. I told him, and I wasn't sure the exact laws. As far as concealed carrying, I said that's a no-go.
Yeah.
I said, now, if you want to maybe transport one down there to have, I mean, I know people in that state have guns, so you may figure out how you have to transport it down there.
Right.
I mean, you may look into that. You might be able to get away with that, but I kind of hope he can figure something out.
Right.
I need that guy around. He's going to help me build the roll cage for my Scout. So
Nice.
he needs to stay safe.
Right.
So, anything else you think we need to bring up today, or do we touch on all that?
I think we've touched on the highlights here of the last few months. Yeah.
I think so.
Interesting.
We'll try
Interesting times we live in.
It is. You need to stay prepared. You know, if you got a firearm, carry it. If you need to take a class, get a class. Christmas is coming up. Buy the gift of safety for a loved one. Buy them a firearm. Get them a class. If you're interested, listen to me on the radios, but on the radio as well on Fridays on 1310 AM KLAX. I'm on from 9 to 10 typically, unless my day job gets in the way. Unfortunately, I have bills I have to pay, so I do have to do a day job. But I do have gift certificates, and I actually sold quite a few before last Christmas. People buying them for their. I mean, it's an easy gift for someone to do for their wife, or the wife to get the husband to call me up, say, hey, I want to get this gift certificate. That's all I need is a phone call. I print it up, I call you back, figure out where to meet you, I hand it to you. It's an envelope, you hand it to them for Christmas. Your shopping is done.
Right.
It's fantastic.
Right. And even though Idaho is a carry state where you don't have to have a license to concealed carry, it's vitally important to get the training.
It is. The training is fantastic. In fact, the enhanced permit class is, as far as I'm concerned, they don't tell me how I have to. I mean, shooting the gun is great. Everyone needs to know how to shoot it safely. They need to know how to manipulate the firearm, how it works, know the fundamentals. But they really set the class up around the laws.
Right.
It's around Idaho's lethal force laws. And we're fortunate that they actually require a Idaho law enforcement officer to teach that part of the class. And you can hit that guy up. I pay him good. So you can hit that guy up with any questions that you want, and he will answer them for you. And it's just, he gets hit with questions. He's the biggest part of the class. In fact, usually when he leaves, I've got to hurry up through the rest of it to remain on schedule for the class, because he gets hit with a lot of questions. And there's a lot of things that he goes over that people go, man, I didn't know that. And it's not all what you hear on the internet. It's not all what you read on internet, web forums.
Right.
It's hear it from right from law enforcement themselves. He deals with it every day. He can give you the honest answers.
True.
So anyhow, I think we're going to wrap it up. Maybe we can let's see. I don't know. Maybe Sunday.
We'll figure it out.
Maybe we can do another one soon.
Right. Absolutely.
I think that'd be fun. We'll do another one. We'll see if we can get the download rate back up to where it needs to be.
Right.
So anyhow, we will catch you guys again. Thank you.